finals.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Blue and orange.
Hey, I love your game, man.
13 days. The Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. The reason why I wanted to introduce this with that little snippet or that little 10-second little clip of Shay and Spike Lee is because you have all these different elements of what could take place in regards to the predictive programming as well as the correlations. So if it's Knicks and Thunder, then you can reference that. You can point to that. Even though that's small, that's just Spike Lee just taking a guess because he likes his team. But when it comes to the entertainment industry, it's always more than meets the eye. It's always more than meets the eye. And also on the other side, I wanted to introduce this because of the Pacers and, the whole aspect of war and 13 days of war. So let's just get into it. During this Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the Knicks, Tyrese Halliburton kept alluding to how his coach wanted his team to look at this playoff series as like 13 days of war. And you heard that from Tyrese Halliburton on a few occasions in interviews, as well as Mr. Miles Turner, where he mentioned it. So it was just something that was interesting to me. I'm like, they keep bringing up this whole 13 days thing, 13 days. Now we know that that's from May 21st to June 2nd, because it started on May 21st. So 13 days from there is June 2nd. So are they saying that the series is going to go 7, like it's already in the books? Or is it more than meets the eye when it comes to that illusion? Because it's so much correlations with these things. You think about this movie, 13 Days of War, as well as other aspects of 13 days and, the war number 13 as well, which is a prime number for 58, 58 being the number for Rosicrucian, the Rosicrucian Order of Masonry. And I believe that, Mr. Tyrese Halliburton, as well as John Halliburton, is a Mason. I believe John Halliburton taught his son and initiated his son. This is why his son is at the level that he's at. That's just my belief. Now, mind you, this movie was released December 25th, 2000, the same year that the Pacers made it to the NBA Finals. And what I caught was, let's just read it. For 13 extraordinary days in October of 1962. 62, that's the number for the Pacers. That's the ordinal for the Pacers in Gematria. This is what I went over. It was just very, very interesting to me. I had to cover this. The world stood on the brink of an unthinkable catastrophe. Across the globe, people anxiously awaited the outcome of a harrowing political, diplomatic, and military confrontation that threatened to end in an apocalyptic nuclear exchange between the United States and the Soviet Union. So you have this war aspect where the Knicks is going against the Pacers, Indianapolis versus New York City. New York being a hub of the world, a hub of the United States. Indianapolis, the city of the plains, the city state, it's just so much to it that's corollary. 13 days captures the urgency, suspense, and paralyzing chaos of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So just very, very interesting. I just wanted to go into that because of these connections and correlations, these numbers. So, yeah. It's very interesting that you have these corollary aspects or these underlying connections. Small, but it's always going to be corollary. Most of these coaches, these big time, entertainers, these people in high level positions, especially in a coach position, an authoritarian position like a coach, they have an understanding. They're handlers. So when it comes to the esoteric, of course, they tap into that. They know, a lot of things about that, especially like a Greg Popovich or Phil Jackson, guys like that. They have an understanding. Coach Carlisle, he has an understanding. So when he alludes to the 13 days of war, it's just a, mind control tactic to get his team to, get in that mindset. 13 being an allusion to the number 58, 5 plus 8 equals 13, that being a prime number for the Rosicrucian Order, as well as number 13 being for chaos and alluding to war. We already went into it when it comes to the movie, as well as other aspects of the number 13, in which I want to go into right here with Deuteronomy chapter 13. And it's very interesting that in this very chapter, it goes into certain aspects of war, certain aspects of, slaughter, just in terms of what's right. So let's just get into it. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 12. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities which the Lord thy power hath given thee to dwell there, saying, certain men, the children of Belial, Belial going into like the worthless people, people who are lawless, wicked, are gone out from among you and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then thou shalt inquire and make search and ask diligently, and behold, if it be truth, and a thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of the city with the edge of the sword. So the Most High commanded Israel to kill those people who are imploring the inhabitants of cities of Israel, certain people that dwelt in Israel. He implored those people to kill those people because it's kind of like, the reason why the Most High commands us, obviously not in this context, in this captivity, but, it's okay for us to slaughter a quote unquote homosexual, because at the end of the day, that's contamination. That's negative contamination. That's wickedness. You can really like contaminate someone with something that's poison in that way just by indoctrination. So that's why it's important for us to quote unquote stop that, be a buffer between that. Obviously we can't in this society, but the point is it's okay. You feel what I'm saying? It's okay for it to happen. Like if it was to happen, the Most High is not going to judge you in that way, because we already understand that that's wickedness, that's wrong, that's an abomination. And it tells you in the very scriptures that they shall be put to death. Right. So it's almost like along the lines of this, where it's like, you have a city of people that serving other gods. So the Most High is saying, kill those people that serving those other gods, because it's wickedness. And thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of the city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof, with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shall burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof every whit, for the Lord thy power, and it shall be in heap forever. It shall not be built again. And it's very important for us to understand. This is just going into the war strategy, the war aspect of pretty much, slaughtering, but in a way where it's in defense of a city that's supposed to be upholding certain principles that's of the Most High. So that's what this is about. And it's just something that was just important to me to cover because of the corollary aspect.